All righty. What is up, college baseball fans? Welcome to another episode of the 11.7 podcast, Weekend 12 preview episode. We are joined today by Noah Beanick. Dimitri's awake this time. He pulled the all-nighter, slept through the whole show last time, and we have a new guest on today. So if you're on the YouTube, you see right above me in the top right corner, Chris Lemonis has joined us. We're in discussions right now, negotiations, now that he is relieved of his duties at Mississippi State. We offered a trade. Jack DeLongshaw for Chris Lemonis straight up. Jack will be the next head coach at Mississippi State. He wasn't able to join us tonight. He's looking for houses in Starkville. And we were going to receive the rights of Chris Lemonis. So we decided to give him a shot today. Dressed to the T, still wearing the Mississippi State gear and has the sunglasses on. So good for him.
He didn't take it too hard. Good for him.
Yep. Still rocking the school colors. But yeah, anyways, Dimitri is awake today and he has some thoughts. We're going to start the show with his thoughts on last weekend. Hilarious episode last week. Just having you in the top left, dead asleep the whole time. And then after that, we're going to do some Mississippi State talk with Coach Lemonis up there. We're going to talk about new potential candidates for the job. Just throw out some names that we think have a shot of getting it. After that, we will do weekend preview. We will also do the pick a top 25 team who we think will get upset this weekend. And then after that, roundtable discussion. Anything and everything college baseball related, whether it's top storylines or things that need to happen this weekend. And I don't know, we'll see where we get carried away with. So this episode is brought to you by Home Field Apparel. You see there on the YouTube, 15% off if you use our promo code CWS25. Today, I'm rocking the Virginia Cavaliers jersey. I'm going to will my way to get them in the tournament. They're going to be the most dangerous 3 seed in the tournament once they get in. They just have a lot of RPI trouble right now. Even after winning the series last week at Georgia Tech, they got some. We need to will them to the postseason. They got some work to do. But anyways, Home Field Apparel, get your pullover jerseys, get your snapback hats. They just released insane Indy 500 gear for all the NASCAR fans out there. Retro styles. It's the best. Dimitri wants one of the jackets really bad. He DM'd me and said, make sure Home Field sends us one. So I have to pull some strings there. But go check out homefieldapparel.com and just check out their catalogs. They got it all. So cool. All right, let's start off the show. Dimitri, any thoughts from last weekend that you weren't able to share on Sunday's podcast? Go for it.
Texas, unanimous number 1 team in the country. I don't think there's any doubt otherwise. We saw some people saying, oh, they haven't played outside of Austin, Texas. What a schedule Greg Sankey gave them, yada, yada. And I was like, fair point. But why does it matter? The road to Omaha is going to run through Austin, Texas. So why do they need to play good on the road? Like, they've shown they're the best team in the country, most consistent team. They haven't had a bad weekend yet. At the timing of this episode, they have not had a bad weekend yet.
You already ruined what we were going to do.
Oh, no, I forgot.
Yeah, so we are recording this pretty late at night on Thursday, and Texas got not run ruled, but they lost 9-0 tonight to Arkansas. But we were going to play it off as if we didn't know, and we recorded earlier in the day and be like, yeah, I think they have a really good chance to just blow them out tonight.
Cam Kozel going to hit a home run.
Wahilo is going to hit a 2-run double in the right center field gap.
We were going to predict it all, but Dimitri just ruined it.
I ruined it. Maybe I should just go back to sleep again. But anyways, yeah, I think Texas showed that they were the best team in the country. You know, they've got a sweep over Georgia. They've got a sweep over A&M. I mean, A&M, I think they're a very good team. They might not be a top 25 team in the country or whatever you want to call it. Let's all be honest. They are a top 25 team in the country, talent alone. But yeah, so Texas dominated that weekend. It was all Longhorn. I thought it was a super fun series to watch. It was one-run game every game. Broadcast is amazing as always. The fans really showed out. I watched pretty much all of that series. There was a time, I think Saturday, I didn't watch any other game. I had time to watch one game, and it was just Texas A&M. So yeah, unbelievable. That's what college baseball is all about that weekend.
Yeah, it's pretty much what we said on the show last time. So I just wanted to make sure we gave you enough time to get your thoughts in that big weekend. Anything that stood out in that Tennessee LSU series? Are you buying into any of the LSU, winning those series against Tennessee, or Tennessee dropping another weekend series at
Or
LSU?
any thoughts on umpires at all?
Umpires are crazy.
I will say this about the Tennessee LSU series. I think that series is going to make people forget how good Tennessee is. Because Friday night, that game was in the bag. Curley made a couple mistakes. Hey, it happened. I saw people were ragging on him. And you know what? If it was the big leagues, sure, rag on him. In college baseball, we're towing a fine line here. I wanted to talk about this. These guys are not getting paid salary, but they are making a lot of money on NIL, collective, whatever you want to call it. So they are making money, but they're not getting paid to play. They're making money. I don't like to call it paid to play. They're just making money off their name, but it's a tricky line. I don't really know how to play, but the point is, he fucked up. Everyone knows that. Move on. I think Tennessee wins that series if they win that Friday night game, because I think they would have taken all the momentum. LSU gave another life to win the Saturday game, but I think Tennessee wins that series. So just remember, this is a very good Tennessee team. This was the number one team in the country at one point, and I don't think they played horrific to show for it. I think Kentucky had a good weekend. A&M, who knows? I mean, that was just one of the craziest Saturday doubleheader. So I think Tennessee, they're just fine. I think people need to calm down.
I talked about it on last episode, and I know you wanted to mention it. New era jumping into college baseball. You tweeted about it, right?
Dude, speaking of Virginia Cavalier, Virginia's been wearing New Era hats for a long time now.
There's a few teams that have been.
Virginia is one of them, because I went back and I looked and I was like, oh my God, Virginia's been doing this for a while. But I think it was just a school by school thing rather than a full blown brand partnership with Adidas, which I think is sick. Because now I actually would be excited to get some of these schools' hats. Because if it's a New Era hat, I'll wear it. Yeah. Some of these hats, I'm not wearing them.
Yeah, those Nike ones with the foam brims are just not quality, in my opinion.
Like Lemonis Adidas hat, I hate the crown of those Adidas hats. It looks like the bill is sticking forward out like a duck beak.
Yep.
That's literally what it feels like.
Yeah. So something I want to take a little step back here. Something that you mentioned, Dimitri, how Tennessee they were the number one team in the country, and now they're scuffling a little bit. Well, our friend over at Pair Ratings on Twitter, he does a great job with analytics and predicting winners and just everything to do with data and stats in college baseball. He tweeted today, what are some good candidates for 11.7's patented hot, cold, hot teams? He has a list of 5, and this was the criteria he used. 10-game winning streak and a winning percentage above 75% before the midway point in April. Agree or disagree? I agree.
Yeah, I've always said.
Yep.
April.
Yeah.
April. 500 or worse after the midway point in April. Like, so that little stretch from midpoint of April till now, below 500. And then top 3 in net ratings. So do you want to guess the 5 teams that fit the criteria? And the hot, cold, hot theory is just trying to predict who's going to win the national championship. And then there's 3 teams that were kind of on the bubble of those circumstances.
I'll give you 3 that just pop off the top of my head immediately. Georgia, Tennessee, Georgia Tech are the 3 that just scream.
Arkansas.
So you're kind of close. Tennessee actually does not fall into this category. I guess they're playing above 500 baseball technically. I went in their midweeks and stuff like that, but it's Arkansas, Clemson, Georgia, Ole Miss, Western Kentucky are the 5, and then Cal Poly, Georgia Tech, Louisville are the ones right after that. So if you want to hypothetically invest in who's going to win the College World Series, I'd start looking at those 8 teams and just say, hey, they're going to heat back up. Like they've shown us how they
or
are.
take a safety flyer and just to make Omaha.
At least make Omaha, right?
Yep.
I would say make Omaha.
Today's a good example. Arkansas turned it around today. Like they're getting hot. Like the bats are heating up. Zach Root looked unhittable. Feels like a team that could easily make a deep run here.
And to be fair, the market really never wavered on Arkansas, so there wasn't really a spot to buy low on them. There's not really a spot to buy low on the Bulls.
Their odds never really dropped.
Nope.
Smart people, because I think Arkansas is good. People keep saying it's Dave Van Horn choke job or whatever. That's not me saying that. That's just other people saying that.
Dude, I'm being serious. I'm looking at these 8 teams. It would not surprise me one bit if three or 4 of them make Omaha, and like 3 or 4 could win the national championship.
Who would be your 4? Clemson, Georgia Tech, and who?
Arkansas, I feel very confident. Clemson, I feel very confident in. Like Clemson's going to finally get over the hump and make Omaha. Like it's just going to happen. I love Georgia. Ole Miss, sneaky good. They've shown signs this year of being, I don't know, top end talent. And then like look at Louisville and Georgia Tech. Last year, 4 ACC teams made it to Omaha. Why can't 4 more make it this year?
And both of those have been to injuries too. It wasn't even like the team was playing bad per se. It was injuries caught up to them. Louisville on the pitching staff, Georgia Tech in that lineup. So
yeah, I think Louisville's playing right now, guy. Yeah,
they are. They're playing Notre Dame today.
They took a 3-1 lead and they're in the 9th. Okay. Yeah, I mean, any of those teams can heat up. And I wonder peer rating. I would like to talk to him to tweak it a little bit.
Pair rating.
P rating, whatever.
His profile picture is a pair.
I would.
Are you familiar with this?
I make fun of it because it's just P and then rating. There's 1 R. I just make fun of it. Calm down. It's not that serious. I think if you tweak that formula, I don't know, just that criteria that he had, I wonder how many more teams would come in if you just barely tweak it.
Yeah, like I know the definition of go cold is hearsay. Like, LSU, when they went cold in 2023, they still ran the table in the SEC pretty much for the regular season. It was their bullpen. They were kind of like not smooth sailing in the back end.
Yeah,
so
like going cold, I agree with that note. Going cold isn't necessarily losing games. It's just like you can have some ugly wins and still out talent people.
Yeah.
We saw it with that LSU team that like was really like they were still winning games, but they just didn't look pretty doing it.
Yeah. And even going into that NCAA tournament, they're like, there's no way that you can confidently win a regional while starting Paul Skeens against a team with 17 wins. You know what?
Right.
They did it. And they figured it out even in the tournament.
Yeah, they didn't have like a number 2 or number 3 starting pitcher either. Like it wasn't solidified at the time. Now, obviously, those guys stepped up, but
that'd be interesting to look at. Anyway, we don't need to spend too much time on that.
Right. I just want to give Pair Ratings a little shout out. He does awesome work. Go follow him on Twitter. Really cool graphics that he comes out with. So I'm going to be honest with everybody. I watched 1 pitch of a midweek game this week, and it was in person live at the University of St. Thomas in St. Paul, Minnesota. I saw the final pitch of their run rule loss to Minnesota Golden Gophers. And other than that, I didn't watch anything on TV.
Why were you there?
What?
Why were you there?
I was getting there. I had to go to Minneapolis for Synergy's like annual sales meetings, and so for my real job, I had to fly up there, and it was really cool. It was at Target Field, the suites of the Twin Stadium, and stayed in the hotel right across the street. but it was back to back to back to back to back meetings pretty much all day Tuesday, all day Wednesday. I snuck out. Well, I didn't sneak out. We finished early on Wednesday. I Ubered to St. Paul. I wanted to see St. Thomas's campus. Awesome campus, great part of town. And the baseball stadium was peak college baseball. And I say that because it is built between two dorm buildings where like the freshman dorms, like they can just open their windows and watch the games from like front row. They break windows every year because the foul ball is just, I'm talking like tight down the lines, like tight. It's out. I mean, it's foul ball or foul territory, fence, 5 feet, giant brick building on both sides, left and right field. It's really cool. And then left field and right field is 320 feet down the lines. Center field is 465 feet away. It is a triangle, and it's awesome. But yeah, I saw the final pitch. My Uber dropped me off. I walked straight to the field, 30 feet away. Final out, game over, 11-0, Golden Gophers. So that was all the midweek I watched.
So did you do anything else there? You just got right back in the Uber and left?
Yeah, dude. So I got back in the Uber and we were having a celebration, I guess. I don't know. We rented out a place called Whirly Ball. WHIRLY ball. Whirly
It's a
ball.
game, yeah.
I've heard of Whirly Ball.
I've played. Yeah.
When I was a kid,
it was the most fun game, dude. It was the most fun game I have ever played. I'm thinking about starting a Whirly Ball league. I want to open my own Whirly Ball complex because we don't have them anywhere over here. And like, I might start a Whirly Ball podcast and website, social media page. It was the most fun I've ever had.
Whirly Ball. We used to do birthday parties at a Whirly Ball in Georgia.
So wait, is that? I thought it was a brand new sport or game.
No, it's been around a long time.
Yep.
How have I never heard of it?
I have no idea. Yeah, Whirly Ball's super
when
fun.
you sent you took a screenshot of your itinerary and sent it over. I saw Whirly Ball and I was going to bring it up on the show. I was like, okay.
Does Omaha, Nebraska have Whirly Ball? Because if they do, I'm about to Google it.
For listeners of this show,
I'm going to host a Whirly Ball tournament.
For listeners of this show that have no idea what Whirly Ball is, hopefully I'm describing the exact same game that Ben played. It's basically bumper carts with highlight sticks and a wiffle ball, and you're throwing it at a basketball backboard, and there's like a target there that you score points with.
Yeah, it's go-karts. It's like go-karts, lacrosse, basketball, and
hockey.
Yeah, it's like those sports combined.
Yeah.
So much fun.
I want to bring something up from the midweek that I didn't really watch too much midweek either. I think this was probably the most non-eventful midweek ever, and the matchups were average. But, guys, when I talk about hot, cold, hot, UNC Wilmington might fit that category of hot, cold, hot. It might not fit pair rating perfect criteria, but they swept Towson, beat Charleston 2 out of 3, beat NC State in the midweek, playing much better baseball the last 2-3 weeks. So I do think Wilmington might put something together and make a run here at the final month.
Well, they have to win the conference tournament.
Well, yeah, I know. But
two bids, yeah, please.
But for a mid-major standpoint, usually that's how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, dude, honestly, they honestly fit Evansville from last year, a team we were so high on in the preseason, ranked in the preseason top 25, and then they fall off a cliff, get hot in the conference tournament, and just run through a regional, get to a super.
I think
that would be a better
talent. I think Wilmington has the talent to do damage.
Yeah, I know we were just skimming through the midweek because I did the same thing. I only watched a couple of games. One of the games that I did watch, though, was Northeastern took down Harvard in the Beanpot final at Fenway Park. That was pretty cool. Back-to-back champs.
Yep. Back-to-back Beanpot champion. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Midweek was super uneventful. Do you have anything else, Ben, from the midweek?
I'm telling you, I didn't watch this. I watched one pick.
I have something I want to bring up before we look forward to the weekend.
Well, okay.
The Missouri Tigers.
Yeah, let's not do this. Let's.
Dude, I saw that graphic you
Dude,
made,
it's
and I was like, I
history.
can't believe you
It's
did that.
history in the making. We have to
Let's
talk about
not.
it.
Let's not do this.
Why? It's history in the making. It's history.
Yeah.
The Missouri Tigers are
Let
9
history
games.
happen before we predict history. All right. Yeah, they're 0-21. The players probably
They're
don't
4 games-
want to
they're
be
4
there right
games-
now.
They're 4 games away. They've already broke one record, which was winless because Vanderbilt went 0-16. No one's ever gone 0 whatever. The worst winning percentage in SC history is like a 130, 140 win percentage, and it was like 4-24, 4-25, or something like that. If Missouri gets swept this weekend, it will be the worst start in SEC history. And yeah, so I just think it's pretty embarrassing to have a program this bad in the SEC of all conferences. If they were in any conference, would they have won a game? Maybe, probably. Probably not. Probably 100% they would have. But dude, you go 0-30 in conference is pretty embarrassing. That's all I just wanted to bring up. And, hey, Texas A&M, Texas A&M, Georgia, and Mississippi State are the final 3 series. It's very possible they go 0-30.
Yeah, they should win one of those, right?
I don't see them beating
Possibly against this team up here.
Maybe. But Mississippi State is also going to be like, dude, we're not fucking losing to these guys. So you never know.
You know what? The only thing I want to say about this topic, because look, I hate beating on teams that are down, and like not only are they down, they're just dead. The baseball program there, the AD said it well. Like we just don't have what it takes to compete right now. Like we need help. And they're dead. Like I don't want to beat them while they're down. But it is fun to think like, who is a team that like would the Mercer Bears win a game in the SEC this year? Or
I think
like
they would win one.
I think Mercer would win one. Like Cal Poly, they beat Texas A&M on the weekend. You have to like try to think like, okay, that like, they would win at least a game. Duh. New Mexico State beat Texas A&M on a weekend. It's like, does New Mexico State, who's in second to last in CUSA, do they win a game in the SEC? Like, I know it's different because conference play matters and all of that, but I think there's a long list of teams that go 1-29 at this point, or at least 1-20 at this point, where they win a game out of nowhere.
Yeah, Missouri to me is a very low percentage outcome this season. It's a shitstorm hurricane of the roster to begin with was not nearly as talented as half the league, and also combine a bunch of injuries because that's what they've had this year. And this is what you get. A weekend rotation that has a new face every single weekend, a Friday starter of a 10 ERA. It's just not SEC winning formula. And gosh, what was I forget what else. I remember having a terrible take at the beginning, maybe the second week of the SEC. Ben and Jack had asked me, how many wins do you think Missouri's going to have come the end of the year? And I'm like, it's baseball. They're going to salvage some series. They're going to win a series, possibly even sweep like they did last year. I think I came up with like 9 wins out of my ass, and they have 0.
Well, we did. We set the over under to like 3.5 or 4.5 win.
I think it was 4.5.
It was 4.5 win.
Yeah.
And most of us took the under. But I want to say this, though. I saw the video with the AD talking about we just don't have the resources, whatever. If Missouri gave half a shit about baseball, they would not be 0-20 right now, 0-21 right now. I think it is a fair take for him to say, but it's also a lousy one because, dude, you're Missouri. You're a you're a school just like Kansas State, just like most of the schools out there. They're not big old Oklahoma State powerhouse facility, but you're still a name brand school, SEC Power 4 conference school in the Midwest. You can compete. You just made a poor decision, and this is the outcome of those decisions. But I think him saying we just don't have what it takes to compete is just a lazy take for me.
It was very lazy, and like I was just looking at our mid-major top 25. I would guarantee that our number 25 team, Austin Peay, would have multiple wins in the SEC this year. They're good enough to win like a 15 to 17 shootout, right? And you drop Kansas in the SEC, or you drop Kansas State or TCU or whoever, like they're winning 8-9 games guaranteed, bottom line. So there's no excuse for Missouri. It's not like they're some underfunded Division II program.
This isn't Mississippi Valley playing the SEC.
Right.
Yeah, and I'll say this too. So Steve Beazer, who was the previous head coach prior to Carrick Jackson, had a rough tenure, but they had 2 years that were much better than the 2 years that Carrick Jackson's had at Missouri. It makes me contemplate what was the decision there to move on from a coach and then not invest in the new coach. It doesn't make sense. The investment should have already been happening.
Nail on the head right there.
So, I mean, you're looking at Carrick Jackson, who's got resume and record well below 500 in 2 years at Missouri. And previously, to get to Missouri, it wasn't like he was setting the world on fire. It was a losing record at Southern 1 year. It was a tournament title and then NCAA tournament berth his second year at Southern. Then he took a break to go to the MLB Draft League. Then he comes back and has a losing season in conference at the AAC in Missouri or at Memphis. And then he gets the Missouri job. Really?
Makes you wonder how they went that route.
Yeah.
Well, he has an unbelievable reputation in not only college baseball, but just the baseball world.
Believe me,
he's a great coach. He's a great coach.
That's not what I'm saying, though. They passed over a lot of coaches that could have easily taken that job that have established programs in the mid-major level or even assistants at other levels. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying Carrick Jackson didn't have the resume. I'm just saying
Jackson's from the area. So, like, I believe
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, so I believe he holds this program highly regarded in his own eyes and heart, and I think he's St. Louis native. So it was like,
So I don't want this segment to run forever. I'm going to end it on this. For anybody wondering, like, if Carrick Jackson does get let go at the end of the year, which you go 0-30, I'm sorry, you probably should be let go. I don't want to call for anybody's jobs, but like that's just common sense. You go 0-30 or 1-29, like let's move on, let's rebuild.
Can I say something before you end it? Actually,
no, because you're going to say probably exactly what I'm going to say.
Okay.
You're going to say exactly what I'm going to say. You know who's going to get the job and who would be fired up.
Oh no, that's not where I'm going.
Okay. Well, can I
Dennis Gates, the basketball coach, went 0-18 SEC play, returned NCAA tournament this year, so the year after it. So for Carrick Jackson in Missouri,
maybe they don't let him go. But what I'm trying to say is there's one guy, if I'm Missouri, I'm hiring, and he's right above me. Go get Chris Lemonis, 2021 College World Series champ, who has been just disrespected the last 3 or 4 years from his own fan base, saying he's not an SEC coach, whatever. I go and hire Chris Lemonis May 30th and just say, here's the keys. You get 3 years, prove yourself. Like, go now. Figure this thing out. And I think he would be fired up to have that job. And I think Missouri would be fired up to have him just to, like, test the waters, right? Like, let's figure this thing out. You've done it before. And I think that's a fan base that would appreciate Chris Lemonis there.
I 100%. I didn't even think about that. I didn't do it. It's a win-win.
And he was at Indiana. I know that Indiana and Missouri don't touch, but that's the same recruiting grounds that he's going to find. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I would go get Lemonis.
Go get him. But anyway, so
ask you guys about that. Where do you think Lemonis would go to next?
I'm calling Missouri right now. As of May 1st, 2025, Chris Lemonis will be at Missouri in less than a month.
All right, let's take away that scenario. Do you think he goes Power 4 again? Do you think he goes mid-major? What do you think? Or where would you like him to go?
Power 4. Step down Power 4. I was going to ask, if McDonald takes a job and leaves Louisville, does Louisville welcome him back?
Do you think it'll be a little carousel, a circle of? Do you not get what I'm saying?
I don't know if McDonald's taking
whoever takes that job. Whoever takes that job, do you think Lemonis kind of goes that direction, or do you think? I mean, if someone goes there, then Lemonis might go. I think it'd be kind of fun to see this guy at some big time mid-major school for fun.
Yeah. Well, it's called coaching carousel for a reason. Yeah. Moves are going to start happening pretty quickly here. Yeah. With the NIL and the transfer portal world, we're at the point where teams are going to start letting coaches go during the season more and more, just so that they can get their feet in the ground, start recruiting, start working the transfer portal in May instead of July and August. So,
Ben, why would a school do that holds themselves in the highest regards as Mississippi State does?
Because the transfer portal doesn't care how big your school is.
Well, fan base thinks it's a top 5 job. I think it's a top 10 job because the facility is one of the best in the country. But everybody that they revere and want on their target board are all going to be playing deep into the postseason. And those guys aren't going to leave their current post to now join Mississippi State and hit that portal right when it opens. That's the tricky part of letting your current coach go, because that's a top 5 recruiting class that now has a month free of a tampering window for every other coach in college baseball to go, hey, your coach that you just committed to, he's no longer going there. We'll offer you this to keep you out of the MLB draft.
It's a good point. They don't pay me to figure that stuff out. I don't know why. There's probably a reason why, and it probably has to do with money. Maybe donors are saying, hey, we're willing to give for the transfer portal this summer, but we want him gone. I don't know. There could be a lot underneath the rug there.
That's the key thing right there. Boosters go, hey, buddy, you want money for your portal ads this summer? We don't want this guy here anymore. Pick one.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Who knows what goes on behind the scenes? But let's take 5 minutes here, talk about some candidates for this Mississippi State job. Just because, Noah calls it a top 10 job. I think it's closer to top 5 than top 10, just because they're a blue blood. They're pretty much who revolutionized the sport.
Is Mississippi State a blue blood though? They're not.
It depends on your definition. Like, they never won it back when they were really good, but they were really good for a long time, and they've won it recently. So, and they have the biggest stadium in the country.
I think they're one of the biggest non-blue blood. If that makes sense.
I think I would call them a blue blood.
I'm with Dimitri on this one, and then also Ben. Like, the reason why I call it top 10 is, I think it was the rightful decision to move on, but these 4 years have been rough. In between a national championship. Look at Tennessee and Kentucky, who were not there previously when Lemonis got started. Both of them are, Omaha contenders. Like, Kentucky just went there last year, and Tennessee's been there 4 times in that stretch. So the SEC has more mouths to feed than it previously did when they hired Lemonis. And now there are other passionate fan bases that want to compete. So,
why are you guys saying Mississippi State is a top 5 job outside of their gorgeous baseball stadium and their loyal and historical fan base? There's nothing. Starkville is not a desirable place to live.
What else do you want? Those are two of the top.
They want NIL. Players want money.
Is Mississippi State rich?
Have they lost anybody to the portal because of money? No. I
don't know. I don't know. Like, I don't
all their talent. Like, they've kept all of their talented pieces. It's not like Tommy White leaving NC State for LSU.
But you never
You're right.
saw Mississippi State really adding any big-time portal transfer, have
No.
you? I'm just spitballing out here. Why is it the top 5 job in your opinion? I think it's a very lucrative job, but I just think there are 5 or 10 schools that
I think you answered that with your 2 points. Historic, longtime, faithful fan base that goes and sells out the stadium every week, and the facilities. Facilities are impeccable.
In this day and age, money is the number one most important thing.
Yep.
You can have no fans, but if you have rich boosters and donors at school, you can get whoever.
Mississippi State
use the money to get a good team. Use the good team to get a couple of wins. Use the wins to bring in fans.
I think that you guys are stuck on them not being as good the last 5 years or 4 years.
That's not what I'm saying.
If they were hosting regionals 22, 23, 24, you'd be like, yeah, this is one of the best jobs in America.
That's not what I'm saying. Every year in the SC, you're seeing all these big name guys transfer to these schools. I feel like maybe I'm missing something. I don't feel like they're getting big time guys in the portal to come to Mississippi State.
Maybe Lemonis was against that. Maybe Lemonis was against the philosophy. I don't know.
Maybe he was running the Dabo playbook where he wanted to keep everything in house, recruit high schoolers, and develop them.
But that wasn't the case either, though. Cal Steven, Purdue transfer. Noah Sullivan's an upstate transfer this year. Garrett Fry is a transfer, I believe. The third baseman this year that I'm blanking on his name from Houston.
Incoming portal guy. So how much money does Mississippi State have? This is something I'm just asking the question. I think Mississippi State got the fan base, they've got the stadium, they've got the facility to be a very desirable job. But I keep hearing Texas A&M's got way more money. So-and-so's got way more money. So that's where I'm just asking.
I don't know. We'll see.
But anyway, candidate.
All right, candidate. So I came out 2 months ago and said that Cliff Godwin would be the next head coach at Mississippi State. It happened a lot sooner than, or at least the firing or let go happened a lot sooner than I was expecting. I still think he is 1B probably to who I think will end up getting the job. And I think it's Chris Pollard at Duke. And I was told by another Division I coach, if Chris Pollard wants that job, he will get that job. I think there's mutual agreement. I don't know. I don't want to start any rumors, but I think if Chris Pollard from Duke wants the job, I can give it to him.
You just started a rumor right there.
Well, Pollard's a highly regarded coach that a lot of Mississippi State fans are already tweeting about. It's nothing that Ben just started. Pollard has been at Duke for 12 years, 6 NCAA tournament appearances, 3 super regional appearances. He flirted with the job at Miami in 2023. He flirted with the job at TCU in 2021. It makes sense why his name is floating around here for Starkville. And this is a guy that I think has done really well recruiting with the hurdles that he has. Duke is a very, very tough academic institution to get into. There's a reason why they only really go to Ivy League schools to bring in their transfers. Imagine now that the entire country, it gets open to this guy to bring in talent from wherever through the transfer portal, because these teams, as of really recent, within the last 5 years, have all been really good at Duke. And I think that that would be a really intriguing hire, because just give him the facility that we all know Duke does not have, give him the money that Duke basketball has, and give him the opportunity and see what he can do, because I think Pollard would be my hire too at this moment.
I love that. I told you guys pre-show I hated the idea of Pollard at Duke. I want someone that's more high energy, more vocal, more visually available. Pollard seems like a guy a little more behind the scene, but I think, Noah, you just convinced me to like Pollard there. I think you just convinced me that Pollard could elevate his game being in a better environment. But at the same time, I feel like Duke is his project that he's working on. This project he built from the ground up. I don't know if he's done with it. I don't know if he's ready to walk away from that. And the Duke administration, I've read a couple articles, they seem really committed to him, working their buttons as much as they can to give him everything he needs. So I don't know if Pollard is going to walk away from that.
I'll see that and also raise you by saying that's why Brian O'Connor's not leaving Virginia.
O'Connor's not leaving. People got to stop that. I will gladly just be so wrong, hot take, freezing cold take, but Brian O'Connor's not leaving. He's 60-something years old. He's got everything he needs in Virginia. Like, why would he leave? Why would he go do this again somewhere else?
So their athletic director, Zach Selman, came from his previous positions were in the front office of North Carolina and Oklahoma. Do we see Skip Johnson or Scott Forbes leaving their posts?
Why is Chapel Hill less desirable than Starkville, Mississippi? Why would Scott Forbes leave that?
I don't have the answer for you, other than bigger program.
If we want to get like super conspiracy, we could say like, oh, well, Scott Jackson from Liberty leaves a head coaching job and goes to UNC, knowing that Forbes is going to go to the SEC next year. Like, you could, I don't know, you could make a conspiracy.
That would be wild. That would be so wild.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That would be
but really, we were kind of joking about it pre-show. I want to bring this up. A lot of those names that you see on D1 Baseball's, or whoever, D1 Baseball, Baseball America, whatever, their hot board for coaches, a lot of those are just
the initial ones are like the names that have frequently been thrown out there in years past. The late ones that come in.
Yeah, the first ones, or not even the first ones, but look, all of these coaches have agents, right? And a lot of them share agents. A lot of the bigger name ones share agents. And yeah, they're going to try to help their guys out, get extensions or bonuses or higher paying contracts, which we saw happen for
Skip Johnson.
For the A&M job last summer. Skip Johnson's name was thrown in the hat. He got a bigger contract and extension. Brian O'Connor from Virginia, his name was the leading candidate for a long time. He got a bigger buyout, bigger extension contract. Wes Johnson at Georgia. Somebody
Nick
else.
Mingione at Kentucky.
Mingione, Johnson. All those names that you see circulating, it's a ploy from their agents being like, hey, if we throw their names in the hat at Mississippi State, their school is going to say, wait, we don't want to lose our guy to a rival in our conference or a bigger school like
at Clemson. Eric Bakich got an extension too.
All of those teams, like all of those coaches, get extensions and they get higher pay bumps just because their agent shows interest in.
There can be 3 or 4 more. When the big, it's not all schools. It's when the big name jobs open up. Mississippi State is a big name job. 3 or 4 or 5 more extensions are going to happen over the next 2 months.
Yeah,
or at least while this coaching search happens, you're going to see we're going to back our guy. We're so excited to extend him for 3 more years. You're going to see that 4 or 5 more times.
And I think where Ben's kind of hinting at here is like these are the guys that ASAP want to be in the conversation. Maybe the coaches that want the job, like legitimately, want to keep this one under wraps for a little bit while longer, because even if they don't get the job, they still want to have a really good year right now that's still going on. So the names that pop up later, just kind of out of nowhere, like here's an update, here's what I'm hearing. This guy could be interested in the job. Sometimes maybe that's a little bit more dangerous than the other ones that are the ASAP targets right away.
100%. I think one of the person that gets hired at Mississippi State is going to like slide under the radar and not come out publicly. He's not going to throw his name in his hat. He's going to tell his agent, do not throw my name in the hat because I want to continue to lead this team right now. And I don't want any speculation that I'm recruiting for the other team. I don't want any speculation that I gave up on this team. It's going to be somebody, dude, like I don't want to throw out names, but like Cliff Godwin kind of fits that. Like Cliff Godwin's name hasn't appeared anywhere on anybody's hot board other than social media online. And
the 11.7 hot board.
Well, 11.7. But like all of the official hot boards, I don't see his name listed on any of them. And it's probably because he's telling his agent, listen, like, let's not get my name out there because like I want to finish this season out. Like I want to do what's right.
Or it could just be him and his agent have a text message or phone call conversation. Hey, I am interested. Speak to their AD, speak to their administration, and that's it. AD's not going to leak his name. I promise you, the AD doesn't want any of his interviews to be leaked.
Yeah.
So it's a very encrypted conversation and avenue of progress, if you will. Godwin goes to the agent. Hey, agent goes, hey, you interested in this job? Yeah, I'm extremely interested. All right, I'll send a feeler out and I'll kind of figure out what's going on, get you an interview.
And this is all hypothetical. Like none of this is happening. Like I don't know anything with anything, but like that's how it usually plays out with these big time jobs. Is the guys that get the jobs are not the ones who are initially reported as like top candidates.
Correct.
It's
That's
usually
why
someone that comes in last minute and ends up getting the job.
That's why I have a little bit of issue, trouble committing fully, because I think Pollard would be a great hire for Mississippi State. But a lot of these hirings that you see, there's footprints previously at their location that they are going to be the new head coach.
I don't think Pollard leaves.
They've previously been an assistant there. They're from the area, whatnot. Pollard's been North Carolina, born and bred, and coached at Duke for the last decade plus. The reason why I think that there could be a connection there is because Selman, the AD of North Carolina, worked closely, admiring possibly what Pollard was doing at Duke. So I think that's your connection there, and why Mississippi State fans seem to be locked on Pollard.
Yeah, I don't think that's all necessarily true, though, Noah. Like, Jay Johnson didn't have any ties to LSU.
You're right.
Wes
Johnson didn't have any ties to Georgia, did he?
Yeah, Wes Johnson, no ties to Georgia. Like, I'm trying to think of other examples. I see where your head's at, and you're right. It's probably 50% of the time yes, 50% of the time no. Lemonis didn't have any ties to Mississippi State, right?
No, he was from Starkville, born in Starkville.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Lemonis is born in Starkville?
According to Wikipedia, I believe so.
What?
Which that's my research on all of this. So
he might be the first person. What? All right, whatever. Yeah. Anyway,
I had no idea.
Born in Starkville, Mississippi.
Wow, Lamoriano.
That's crazy.
I had no idea.
Played for Citadel and then coached at Louisville, Indiana.
I think, guys, Dan Hefner. He's gonna be the next Power Four. When he's ready, he's gonna get a job in the Power Four. SEC.
That's your guy.
Dan Hefner is an SEC coach. I just don't know what school it's gonna take.
He's got a pretty nice life at Dallas Baptist.
I promise you, his contract, his salary is gonna triple the moment he goes to one of these schools. And
I just realized
Dallas Baptist had no business being a big-time baseball school. Nobody would never even know Dallas Baptist if it wasn't for Dan Hefner and his baseball program. So I think that guy, I'm not saying Mississippi State's going to be the one, but when the time comes where he takes a job, it's going to be this is a dangerous, this something's going to happen big time. He's going to be so good wherever he goes. That's my dream hire for one of these schools. I don't know if I want to use my ticket on Mississippi State. I don't know what school I want him to fit at the most. But I think Dan Hefner should be a name.
Yeah, I know you've been locked on that name for quite a bit, and I think he's a quality coach and probably deserves a job. It's just
by the way, just to put out there's no connection. This is just a guy that I'm excited for to take that next step. I want to see how Dan Hefner does at a big-time school.
I just realized that when I was going through Chris Lemonis' Wikipedia page, that the connection, at least between Dan McDonnell and Lemonis, was that they were both former Citadel players. So that's why McDonnell brought him on to his coaching staff. So if Lemonis gets another job and if McDonnell leaves his post for Louisville, like he had always been kind of thrown around in these coaching carousel rumors and stuff in previous seasons before Louisville kind of had a 2-year tournament drought here, Lemonis back to Louisville.
Yeah, I could see that. But I would say Skylar Meade would have a better shot at that Louisville job than Chris Lemonis.
Does he have
What?
any chance at Mississippi State?
Who?
Yeah, I would
Who are
say
you talking
so.
about?
Skylar
Dan
Meade.
McDonald?
Talking about Skylar Meade.
Yeah, I would say absolutely he's got a shot.
To me, I think that Mississippi State should set their aim a little bit higher, and if they take a couple of whiffs, you come down. I think Meade's a very good look from a mid-major level that's not too far away. It's same recruiting ground, and he kills it in the transfer portal. So,
yeah, he fits all the pieces. Just he's never he just hasn't coached in the SEC.
And I believe.
Oh, I mean, he's in the SEC. He was a pitching coach at South Carolina, but he hasn't been.
And I believe
head
during
coach.
that same episode or some time frame really close to that Cliff Godwin show, you called that Skylar Meade would be playing in garnet and black. Well, maybe it's just maroon and black, coaching in maroon and black, and it's at Mississippi State, not South Carolina.
Yeah, it's going to be so interesting what South Carolina does. I don't think you can bring Maneri back. I don't think so.
That was a rough experiment. It is a rough experiment because it's still going on. They're making, like, I'm all for having fun and stuff when you're playing, but the fans making fun of their own players for making TikToks when they're just like 4 and 17 or whatever. It's like,
how do we get
they're not wrong.
From Chris Lemonis in Mississippi State?
Skylar Meade. Ben called for Skylar Meade to take the South Carolina job.
Oh, right. Yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. I'm out of words because I have no idea what direction Mississippi State's going to go in. I have no idea. So I don't want to even sit here and pretend I know anything.
Oh, that's the fun of it, though, Dimitri, and the listeners want to hear what your prediction is.
I know, but I don't even know
who's the prediction. Who's getting the job, Dimitri?
I don't even know where to begin because you could sit here and say we're going to go get the hot up-and-coming coach from Oregon. You can sit here and say we're going to go get.
Wisconsin's not bad either. Well, that came out of nowhere.
That's my number 3 on the list. What? That's my number 3 on the list. I have Godwin, then Chris Pollard, then Mark Wasikowski is my number 3 option.
Really?
That's who I'd go get. Now, I don't know how well – I don't know his contract. I was too lazy to look up his contract at Oregon. He might be making a ton of money with Nike backing and just have basically a free pass of every year potentially and should be winning the Big Ten. Like, he might love that, but like he fits the mold of an SEC coach that could just day one – almost like Schlossnagle, just like figure it out.
So Wise got an extension at the end of last year too. So his buyout is $675K this year, and then it scales. Sorry,
I didn't. To be honest, I didn't even know like you were talking when you were reading out those contracts. I even.
My Wi-Fi might be acting up since I pulled up this page that has a bunch of ads on it. But his buyout this year is $675K, and then it goes to $700K next season, $760. So yeah, $700K range, which isn't bad. Like Mississippi State's going to be willing to pay some money to go get their next head coach. Now, if it's Nick Mingione and the buyout's $6 million, that's a different story. That's a pricey buyout for baseball coach. Well done, that's Kentucky.
Crazy. I mean, that's what I'm saying with the whole direction thing. Do they go assistant in the SC? Do they go mid-major? Do they go another Power 4 coach? You can sit here and predict and have all the fun you want, but it's like at the end of the day, I don't even know where Mississippi State headed at because you could predict when Cohen was there because, you can kind of visualize their AD, his playing days, his coaching days, and kind of build a coaching tree from there. This one, I have no idea where they're going to go because I don't think they're going to take anybody from the Lemonis coaching tree. Like, it's going to be a completely fresh start. New AD, new coaching tree, everything. So that's why I have no idea. I don't think Pollard's going there. Brian O'Connor's not leaving. it's going to be someone that people have not talked about yet.
So, do we want to make official predictions?
I don't, because I have no idea what to predict.
Oh, come on.
I kind of do.
Go ahead. I want to hear them.
I'll go. I'm going to go with Cliff Godwin is my official prediction. And you know why? I think it speaks volumes that they let Lemonis go in the middle of the season. And when you match up the timelines, like who's kind of come out publicly the last few weeks and have said like, oh, we haven't gotten the job done. Like I need to get my alumni to talk about East Carolina baseball and like what it means to be a Pirate. And like he's kind of talking down to his team and like frustrated. I think that there was a scent in the air that he was unhappy with the transfer portal and like not getting the resources that he needs now to compete at a high level, like Omaha level. And I think there were some feelers put out from Mississippi State's athletic department and their boosters to either him or his agent and just saying like, hey, like what timeline do you want to work with? And he might be moving on. They're in 6th place in the AAC. Like this is uncharted territories for East Carolina. Like when do you want to start recruiting as a Mississippi State Bulldog? Okay, our season's probably going to end in 3 weeks. Like, let's get this thing going now. So that's my prediction.
The only hurdle that I can't commit to buying all the way in on what you're selling here, because I think you're selling something that looks nice and shiny, is that Cliff Godwin in his coaching past was an assistant at Ole Miss. To jump to the other side of the rivalry is a big, big jump.
Loyalty.
You don't think Mississippi State wants to rub that in? You don't think Mississippi State wants to rub that in?
I'm sure they would love to.
Like
I'm sure Mississippi State would love to, but I don't know if Cliff Godwin wants to do
hold on to Bianco, and we got your guy. Now we're going to Omaha. Like that would be the ultimate. I will rub this in your face. We got your.
You're not wrong, but I don't know if Godwin wants to do that to Bianco.
Loyalty ain't shit nowadays. Nobody cares about that.
Yeah, you're talking about loyalty. It's Cliff Godwin. He's been at East Carolina for as long as possible.
Yeah.
Like, he's loyal. He's the one that doesn't have his name in this conversation at all until Ben Upton throws it in.
Go call Monty Lee and ask him what he thinks about rivalries and loyalty. They don't care. Paycheck paid the counterpoint. But I will say this though about what Ben was saying. Mississippi State did not fire Chris Lemonis at this exact time that they did without a plan already in place. Yeah. You don't fire a coach and then you say, all right, well, let's start our search. Let's figure this thing out. It was, all right, we've made enough progress on XYZ. We're comfortable and we're ready to fire him.
Zach Selman and the athletic department listened to the 11.7 podcast back in early April when Ben said that and said, oh my God, that's a great idea. Let's do it.
Yeah.
I'll take my commission cut there, Mr. Selman.
My prediction's Chris Pollard. Dimitri?
My prediction is a Division I college baseball coach.
I hope.
Well,
I hope they go out and get
an NAIA guy.
Yeah.
Coach Girardi or somebody.
Coach Girardi.
MLB cross-checker. It could be anybody. It could be freaking assistant to the assistant GM of the Houston Astros. You have no idea who this guy. I think Mississippi State could go the pro rank.
It's a very good point.
Hey, what day exactly did he get fired or let go?
Lemonis?
Tuesday.
Lemonis.
Monday.
Like this, like Monday. What was the date?
The 27th. No, it was the
28th.
The 28th of April.
Like right after East Carolina lost 2 out of 3 at home to Tulane and dropped from 2nd place to 6th place in the AAC.
They didn't even lose 2 or 3. They got smoked in that first game.
So that's what I'm saying. The timelines match up. I think more people need to buy into this.
All right, let's move on from this thing. I'm tired of looking at them on my screen. I'm taking them off.
All right. Let's do the weekend preview, and we'll make our weekend series pick'em picks. Dimitri's still alive in the Survivor, correct?
Correct.
I'm still alive in the pick'em.
So
let's go.
You're still alive in the pick'em. The 6th series here: UCLA at USC, TCU at Arizona, NC State at Miami, Clemson at FSU, Lamar at Southeastern Louisiana, and La Tech at Western Kentucky. You see, Noah is you had the standings pulled up, but you're like 4th place right now, 5th place.
Yeah, I don't know so we do have to address this actually because
it's all updated. It's all updated.
Do you want to explain what had happened or no?
I mean, there's nothing to explain. There's nothing to explain. That the standings are updated for anyone that's listening. Everything is fixed and fine. That's it.
Cole GBO 3-game lead. That is impressive, my friend.
50-14 this year is nuts.
I agree. That is pretty immaculate stuff.
Is next weekend the catch-up weekend?
Yeah, next weekend we're going to do 8 series. We're going to just do maybe 9.
Let's call it moving weekend. Like, you know how in golf tournaments that Saturday is moving day? The moving weekend.
Yep.
Yeah,
we're going to make it where even if you're in 10th place 6 games back, like Cole GBO could go 0-8 or 1-7, and you could pick up some.
We do it every year. So if Cole's new, it's not.
Oh yeah, we do it. We do it one weekend every season. Yeah, I hope it's Cole. Like I follow him on Twitter. Like he's a great follow, Tennessee fan. Which is funny because, shoot, I forgot the guy's name that's with you in the Survivor. Who's with you in the Survivor?
Wilkes.
Yeah, he's an LSU fan, so we might be going to Omaha with a Tennessee fan and an LSU fan.
They both could be,
which would
be very fun.
Yeah, which would make it even more fun. And yeah, so anyways, Noah, lead us off here with wherever you want to start. It doesn't matter.
I'll make it really easy for Dimitri. If I was still alive in my Survivor, this would be my Survivor pick. When I saw that we selected Louisiana Tech and Western Kentucky as a pick'em series, I couldn't pick the tops fast enough, guys. They're 26-1 at home in Bowling Green this year. They have the best team ERA in the country. Ryan Weidman's still raking 375 average over his last 6 games. He played that FIU series. It was just a tough series. They lost all 3 games by just 2 runs each. It was kind of like Texas A&M losing all 3 games by just 1 run each. I think it's a big bounce back weekend for WKU. Yeah, tops.
All right, look. So we've seen it 1,000 times in college baseball. Team gets swept on the road. They bounce back at home the next week and win 2 out of 3. I just think that Western Kentucky might be, I don't know, like things have been gone other than last weekend. Things have gone almost perfect for them this year. They also lost in extra innings to Vanderbilt. Like that went against them, but still, I think there's a lot of fight in this La Tech team. And I think that Lane Burroughs and the squad, they've lost a lot of just crazy games this year. Speaking of like Friday night against Dallas Baptist at home last week, they give up they're up 8-2 in the first inning and lose after hitting a grand slam in the 10th still. So I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to say La Tech actually goes in to Western Kentucky and wins 2 out of 3. More so because it feels like the tides are going to turn with those 2 teams. Like I can't imagine Western Kentucky going 30-2 this year at home. I think 27-4 is more likely, or 27-5 is more likely. And look, La Tech is a good team. They're 11-6 in the conference. Western Kentucky's 11-7. They'll have the Battle Grays on the road. So La Tech wins 2 out of 3. And I also need to make up ground in the pick. So this feels like a good shot.
I can't believe you went La Tech. I told Noah before the show, I think Louisiana Tech looked pretty good against Dallas Baptist last weekend. Western Kentucky's kind of reeling. They do have a nice midweek win over Kentucky on Tuesday night.
Oh, that was my other point I forgot to make. They exhausted all resources in Kentucky. Like they tried to win that game.
They had to
with the best bullpen pieces. Yeah, they had to. So like that's you go all out in a midweek game right before a weekend series like this. It usually ends up poorly.
Yeah. I'm going to go with the not fade the facility pick here and take Western Kentucky, but I really think Louisiana Tech is playing good baseball, and they have a shot. I think they're a very underrated team, and I think they have a shot to win the series. Very, very strong shot to win the series. I'm going to take Western Kentucky just because they're at home.
Perfect. And then Jack just texted us. Oh, never mind. He didn't text to the picks.
He's working on them.
Oh, okay. He'll text us
Yeah.
our picks later. But anyways, all right. Next
I'll
series.
keep it in the mid-major ranks. Let's go to Lamar Cardinals and Southeastern Louisiana Lions. Southeastern Louisiana, 19-6 at Pat Kennelly Diamond this year. Lamar is only, I mean, it's still a great record, but 12-10 on the road compared to their 24-2 record at home. So if there's a spot to catch the Cardinals, it is definitely when you are the home team here. The Cardinals do have 3 of the top 5 arms in the Southland Conference when it comes to ERA, but Southeastern as a team, top 5 ERA nationally, and the Lions are also second in the scoring in the Southland. They lead the conference in home runs. I respect our buddy Micah over there. It's ACC means less. He actually gave me a hat, but yeah, I respect him, but give me Slew. I'm going with the Lions here.
Perfect. I'm gonna go and fade the facility here. It's another like trend. It's almost identical to this La Tech versus Western Kentucky series where like Southeastern Louisiana's played unbelievable at home this year, and like they're due for regression at some point, I would think, right? And Lamar is very hard nosed, scrappy, and like they have 3 guys they can lean on the mound. The opposite, and I'm going to make the opposite point of the previous series where Lamar actually like didn't throw their best guys at A&M in the midweek this past week. Like they gave up 13 runs. They kind of punted it towards the end because they knew how important this weekend matchup is at Southeastern Louisiana. Because if they go in and win the series or go in and sweep the series, they have a good shot at hosting the Southland Conference tournament for their bracket. They're 2 games back to Southeastern. They feel like I know Lamar is walking in thinking that they're the better team. So like confidence will be there. So like I just think that Lamar, I think it's very evenly matched, but I think Lamar is actually going to come out on the road and like prove a point there this weekend.
This is a Southland heavyweight fight right here. But Lamar, I feel like it's the pretender. Southeastern Louisiana is the contender. Lamar, weak schedule, great Southland conference record, great season overall. 36 wins, probably one of they've got to be one of tied or at least one of the most wins in the country. They've got to be up there. But I like Southeastern Louisiana home. You never fade Ham in America. Just never fade Ham in America. Give me Lion up.
I also want to say this before we move on to, I actually want Slew to go on a run here, maybe even take care of business in the conference tournament because they're athletic directors on the selection committee, and I do not want one of those situations happening again where it's like, yeah, the AD's got his team into the NCAA tournament as like one of the last 4 teams in. So yeah, go out there and take care of business. Leave no doubt, Lions.
Wait, I'm kind of rooting for that now. I kind of want the drama again.
Ben, you took Lamar, right?
Yes,
I took Lamar, yes.
Let's do TCU at Arizona. We'll work backwards from, I think, biggest series to, the mid-majors to the biggest series this weekend. On social media, I saw that Arizona is selling beer and soda bats for this weekend's series against TCU. Coming into the season, I thought these were my 2 favorite rosters in the Big 12. I was higher on these 2 teams than Oklahoma State for what it's worth. And I think this should be a great series. Frogs are 11-5 on the road. The Wildcats 21-3 at High Corbett Field, aka the Juice Box. In Big 12 play, TCU, a little bit of the Texas syndrome where they've played road series, but not against some of the better teams in the conference, right? At Texas Tech, at Houston, at UCF, and they lost that series against the Knights. All those were their 3 road series here. I think all of those teams bottom half of the Big 12 league standings. This is a big step up, in my opinion, to go over there into Tucson and take down an Arizona team that they have Brendan Summerhill back, their best MLB prospect. And I think I'm looking forward to this Arizona team really hitting their stride. I'm rooting for it deeply down the back half stretch of this season. So give me Zona.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a very popular pick. This is a toss-up for me. You mentioned Arizona does play their best baseball at High Corbett Field. Like they do score a ton of runs. They know how to play the funky outfields, and they know how the ball flies. And I think that field has some pretty good shadows as well. They start the game in the late afternoon. So there's a lot of factors that play in their favor that they're used to. But this is a must-win series for TCU if they're going to host a regional. And that's what it boils down to. I personally want to see TCU get that 16th hosting spot, host a regional in Fort Worth, and then match up against Texas in a super. I think that would be great for the game. Schlossnagle playing against his former team that he helped build from the ground up against his former pitching coach. So I'm rooting for TCU. I'm going to pick them this weekend on the road. I think that it's a toss-up series at best.
TCU, I feel like it's a smart pick. I'm pretty sure Arizona lost last weekend to. No, they played out of conference. Let me see. Hold on.
TCU last
They
year.
lost to Texas Tech. They lost to Texas Tech. That's who it was.
Yeah.
Pretty ugly loss on the road, though. They're back at home. I think TCU is the play here, but I can totally see Arizona winning this series. I can totally see it happening. And because of that, give me the Cat. Give me Arizona Wildcat. I think this is an upset weekend for them. Big 12 never ends without drama and chaos. The birthplace is not easy. Give me TCU. Arizona at home.
Let's shoot down to the southeast corner of this country for the NC State Wolfpack and the Miami Hurricanes. I'm going to let Dimitri lead this one off. How about that?
Yeah.
Hey, I said they were going to lose last weekend against Boston College.
Me too.
They won it.
I told you guys they weren't going to lose that.
I said they were going to lose to Georgia Tech. They swept. I said they were going to lose to Duke.
8 straight ACC wins.
I said they were going to lose to Duke. They took 2 out of 3. So, you guys know the drill here.
He's picking Miami.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he froze. He froze right before his pick.
You guys know the drill here, and he froze.
He's going to take North Carolina State.
No, he's going to take Miami because I think he's rooting against.
No, he would. I don't think he ever roots against Miami. He's a diehard Miami fan. I think he plays into the fact that he didn't think they were going to be good this year.
He's back.
He's back.
Wi-Fi went out. I'm saying NC State is winning this series. It's not even going to be a question. But I'm clicking the Miami box, and my pick is going to be Miami. But NC State.
I know, my friend. Noah thought you were going to pick Miami, and I was like, dude,
he picked Miami.
He's going to pick NC State.
I'm picking Miami, but NC State is going to win 2 out of 3.
That way, he reverse jinxes and Miami wins.
God, Ben, I just explained it. I just literally laid it out on a silver platter. Whatever.
Wait, no, the reverse jinx is.
He thinks that NC State's winning.
You picked against Miami. No, wait, time out. I need a 30 second. He's picked against Miami the last 4 weekends, and they've won all 4 series. And now you're picking Miami?
You're missing my point.
Ben is in a blender.
I said Duke was going to win the series. Miami won. I said Georgia Tech was going to win the series. Miami won. I said Boston College was going to win the series. Miami won. So I'm saying NC State is going to win the series. I'm secretly clicking Miami.
Oh. That's just pick NC State. So you guarantee Miami a weekend series.
That's not how this works.
He just doesn't want the graphic to show NC State, so all his little Miami buddies can't give him crap. That's what it is.
No, I think honestly, though, back to real talking, no more bullshit. I think Miami has finally figured out that rotation and that pitching staff and the roles that everyone has. They finally have figured out how to play 27 innings of baseball on the weekend. Daniel Cuvée, Ben, you love that guy. He mashes, he rakes. He's Yohani Morales 2.0. He's Yo-Yo 2.0. I think Miami has figured it out, and they have momentum. And that's a scary drug in college baseball. When you're hot and you have momentum, it's hard to lose. So they're at home in Coral Gables. Give me Miami.
Yeah, Mark-Light Magic can definitely happen here. And like you said, the momentum is there because of that pitching staff is red hot right now. But in my eyes, I don't know if the offense is very threatening. They're on a win streak right now, but I wouldn't say it's been the offense that's really carried the day for them. They're 213th in WRC plus. And like I said, very well could see some Mark-Light Magic here. They're 18-7 at home, but NC State's been pretty good on the road this season, 8-3. I'm going to take Pac-9.
I'm right there with you, Noah. I think if this was my survivor pick, if I had a survivor pick left, I would take NC State. And I know it's risky on the road, but like this Miami run has got to come to an end. Unless they really did figure out what Dimitri was saying, like they figured out rotation and lineup, and maybe that was the case, but we saw them earlier in the year. They looked like a bad baseball team. So I'm kind of betting on the cold, hot, cold theory, whereas like NC State, I think, is just a better team all around.
They are
more reliable.
They are a good team.
Yeah.
Let's have some fun. Let's go out west. UCLA, USC at Great Park in Irvine. USC's 14-8 there this season, which isn't excellent. UCLA has a solid 7-5 winning record away from home this year. The Bruins are missing Cody Delvecchio. They have been missing him for quite some time. He was their Friday starter from the get-go this year. He didn't pitch at all in April. Wyland Moss, who filled in for him as the Friday starter, didn't pitch last weekend, didn't pitch in the midweek, and he's not slated to start this weekend either. So I'm afraid that there could have been an injury there that I missed. And USC's Caden Hunter, so on this Friday still, he's going to start, but he's kind of been leaking oil lately. 5.91 ERA in his last 6 starts compared to up until where I saw him at Michigan, he was dominant the entire year so far, the first month and a half, 2 months there. So he hasn't really been himself lately. And Caden Aoki, their game 2 starter, has been great, but the Bruins are going to counter with Michael Barnett, who's 8-0 on the year with a 4.01 ERA. So I think that's a really good starting pitching matchup. Overall, the weekend to me is a little bit of a wash because game 3 has 2 TBAs for starting pitcher. So I'm going to have to go with who I think is the better offense. And Rock-Chalowski in this UCLA improved lineup this year seems like the pick for me. So I'm going to go Bruins.
Yeah, you basically read off my notes right here. It is concerning that UCLA is 7-5 on the road this year, and USC is 24-6 at home. The problem is, like, they're all going to be sleeping in their own beds every night. Like, this is not a long road trip. I don't think it's going to affect UCLA as much as like a trip out to, Michigan or Indiana or whatever. The thing that I have circled and highlighted is Rock-Chalowski. Not only is he probably a top 5 favorite to win the Golden Spikes, he's hit 10 of his 16 home runs in Big Ten play this year. He is eating up Big Ten pitching. I trust him. I trust Coach Savage. But I do think it comes down to a game 3 because USC, they win this series. They pretty much punch their ticket to a regional berth. That's going to boost their RPI up into the late 20s, maybe mid 20s. And it's hard to fall down to the mid 40s from there with only 2 weeks left. So a lot to play for USC.
How confident are you in this pick?
I've picked all 5 road teams so far, so not at all.
I feel better about it. This is one of the ones that I feel better about this week.
So
it's not much of a home field advantage.
It's not a road. This is not a road series. USC is not even playing at home. They're playing in Irvine.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just I'm going to take UCLA here. I think they're the better team. I think USC's had one of their better seasons they've had in a long time. I don't know if it's a product of being out of the pack, so they're winning more games. Because we're noticing Pac-12 teams are doing really well this year. Really well this year. Oregon, Oregon State, UCLA, Washington, all these schools are doing much.
Arizona State.
Everyone's having a good year, and they're not beating.
Well, not UConn, BYU.
So we don't need to talk about that.
Well, BYU, never mind. Throw BYU. I don't know why I said BYU.
So give me UCLA. I think they're the better team. They have more star power. I think USC.
The team that you might have been wanting to throw in there is Washington State, who's currently bringing it up the rear in the Mountain West.
Yes.
I think USC is going to be a nice little squad in somebody's regional. I think they're going to be a grade 3 seed. I think they're going to give some fit. But give me UCLA. I think this team's got a lot more to fight for. They want a regional at home with Jackie Robinson, and they need this series this weekend.
All right. The final series of our pick'em this weekend is Clemson at Florida State. If anybody remembers this series from last year, Clemson completed 3 back-to-back 8+ run comebacks to sweep. I think Florida State remembers that, 1. 2, I think it's really interesting to note because Florida State's bullpen blew all 3 big leads. What's the issue for Florida State this season? It is that bullpen. But they have the more solidified rotation because Clemson's question mark right now has been the rotation. Aiden Canuck is good, but he's not his freshman form. I think even he would say that. And then game 2 starter, game 3 starter, both went down with preseason injuries. And it's something that they haven't really filled that hole all season long, and kind of why I wasn't like all the way bought in. Like, I love Bakich and I love Clemson, but both Darden and Lagurnik, who are filling in as the game 2, game 3 starters, haven't really panned out. And now you're looking at Drew Titsworth, who's starting game 2s, the last 2, I think, and game 3's TBA. And I think it was BJ Bailey who's gotten the recent nods there. And I just don't think it's good enough to go on the road at Dick Howser Stadium and win a series against Florida State in this offense. Having to consistently come from behind in games is cute, and it's very fun when it works, but it's also a recipe of losing series. And to fit pair ratings system there, I was actually shocked that they fit the hot, cold, hot theory. Because this is a team that had not dropped an ACC series at all until that NC State weekend last weekend. But they had won each series just 2-1. They weren't sweeping anybody. And yeah, I'm gonna go Noles here, and hope that Clemson figures it out, hits another gear in late May and June, because I want to see this team in Omaha.
All right, so this one's tough.
It is.
This might be one of the more tough series of the season to pick. If Clemson would have won the series last week against NC State, I'd say, like, all right, Clemson they're going to win 2 out of 3 every weekend. But getting swept by NC State, are we hitting the panic button and saying they're not, like, they're cold right now, they're not going to be good this weekend, and they're going to lose 2 out of 3, or are we saying, like, they're due for a bounce back series win, even if it's on the road? I think this series is loaded with fireworks, talented players, and a potential 15-14 game on Sunday. Like, the ball is probably going to be flying, and we're going to see the back end of the bullpens. The only consistent thing that I know is that Jamie Arnold's going to throw a gem on Friday when he starts, and that's a win. I think he wins Friday, and if you're up 1-0 in the series, you have a better shot at winning, especially at home. So I'll take Florida State as my only home team to win the series, which is great news for Clemson fans.
Yeah, dude, this is one of those series, punch for punch, pound for pound, everything. You would think most of these teams are pretty even. It's hard to fade Florida State at home at Dick Howser. I think they've got momentum on their side again. I think they've got more to play for this weekend. I think maybe Clemson's hungry. Maybe that NC State series woke them up. and said we're not unbeatable. This is that weekend that every good team needs. Texas is probably going to face it this weekend with Arkansas. You've been riding the highs of the highs, cruise control. You feel like you just are unbeatable. You get punched in the mouth. It's like, okay, all right, reset. No big deal, but we're beatable. I think this kind of could be that weekend for Clemson too, but it's on the road. So it's harder to do on the road. So give me Florida State here. I think I like Florida State at home. But yeah, this is probably the hardest board we've had all season.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Well, good. All right, before we end the show here, let's pick our top 25 team we think will lose the series to an unranked team. There's only a few
By
options.
the way, last week's pick in this segment by all of us was UCF to beat West Virginia. Didn't really work out too great.
No, well, I had App State beating Southern Miss, and that was even
Who did
worse.
I have?
So
I forgot.
I changed to Florida beating Arkansas, and it was correct. But I wasn't going to let myself have the win because we had all three of us had agreed that it would be UCF. So, yeah, Florida was my pick.
Who did I pick? Who was my upset?
Did you want to go Virginia Tech or something? Did you go?
No, that was like a month ago.
that was, yeah. I don't think you were on the show last week, were you?
I was here. It was either. It wasn't. I don't think it was Florida, Arkansas. I think honestly, it might have been. Did I say Cal Poly over Irvine?
You might have, because you said that for your weekend pick'em too.
Yeah, I did take that.
No, it was. Did you take Texas A&M over Texas?
No, I took Texas. I think it was Cal Poly. Or maybe I said UCF over West Virginia. I don't remember. But anyways, yeah. This weekend.
All right. So this week our options are App State on the road at Coastal. I don't think anybody's picking that. Michigan State is hosting Oregon. Noah, you're going to be there. So thoughts on that? You think Michigan State?
I'll refrain from picking it because I'll cover it. But Friday, notable news: Joseph Jerwa is projected starter against Grayson Grinzel. I thought it would be Jerwa going on Saturday, as he has been the last month or so. But Michigan State wants that head-to-head duel, and I'm sure plenty of scouts want that head-to-head duel too. So it'll save them a trip. So buckle up, 6:05 p.m. Eastern. Probably Big Ten Network for that one.
Yeah. I'm going to go. I think my pick for this week. Wow, this is the tough board. I guess I'll go TCU over Arizona just because I've made it in the pick'em. Even though it's weird that TCU.
Yeah, I was about to say, are you sure they're not ranked?
I don't know. According to this, they're not.
That's crazy. I mean, I think the obvious one here is Miami over NC State, but I can totally see South Alabama beating Troy at home this weekend.
The obvious one, fellas. The obvious one is the Aggies over LSU. That's where I'll take you.
Yeah, it's at home, which helps a ton. If it was at LSU, I'd say no way. But yeah, that's definitely possible, and it's a must-win series for the Aggies.
Dude, if they lose that series, they're going to be 9-15 with 2 to go. That means they have to win the final 2 series.
Well, one of them is Missouri.
Yeah, they're going to sweep Missouri.
Hopefully. There's going to be a lot of pressure on that series to not lose the game to Missouri.
Yeah. I'll just go with the Canes. I'll go with Miami.
Love it.
So he picked Miami.
Well, perfect. Well,
and he thinks Miami.
So he picked Miami.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to end the show here right at an hour and a half. Appreciate everybody for listening. Any final thoughts?
Render judgment to win the Kentucky Derby. Toby Keith's horse. First one that he got to the Kentucky Derby the year that he passed away.
I didn't even know what the fuck render judgment was. I didn't even
want to
ask for the last hour and a half. I was like, dude, I don't even know what that is. This guy has named.
What are his odds? What are his odds to win?
I haven't even checked. The horse odds are crazy. they'll
how
move
do
on the
you-
final
how do
day.
you even know? Like, I didn't even know the Kentucky Derby was this weekend.
I'm
Yeah, I didn't
following
either.
it nonstop.
Dude,
I love.
you're a DJ and you're an animal with this stuff. You're always all over this stuff.
I love the racing game.
You
All
should-
right. Well,
you
appreciate everybody for
should-
listening. We'll be back Sunday night, and hopefully Jack will be here for that. But who knows?
Yeah.
See you.